If I ask you, what is the most powerful word to you? You might come up with many different answers. Freedom, happiness, power, and so on. But what is the most powerful word to me? I'll say mine in a moment. Let me tell you a story first. When I was 7 years old in 2017, I was privileged to go on an Alaskan cruise. And I witnessed something in person that I had seen many times on the news before. Yes, I might have been 7 years old, but when you witness icebergs falling from glaciers from just a few feet distance, it really doesn't matter how old you are. What I experienced that day caused a huge change in my life, and in fact, this was a change in terms of its effect and impression. And that's why the most powerful word to me is change. This incident has triggered all the other subsequent exchanges of goals that I've established, from my personal cause to the universal cause. I had to exchange myself from the first stage of a passive observer to the second stage of an active advocate. This exchange of stage is important to all of us because it not only sets the cause of action for our future, but also settles the course of that action. And this should be true to all of you as well. Exchanging your thoughts from your individual issue to a more global context will ultimately bring the change in you and by you. And with this alignment of change and exchange, I am where I am today, one of the youngest climate campaigners and child rights activists. Dear TEDx audience, think about an individual who blames every other person and object for anything and everything that happens around, who hopes and waits for someone else to run with the baton on hand, who does not realize that he himself can be the pilot of the journey of his desires towards his destiny. Do you think this person will be remembered in history? Well, I don't. So that's why after I returned to New York from that Alaska trip, I went to the United Nations and raised my voice about this global warming and climate change issue for the past 5 years. I kept talking about child abuse, gender discrimination, domestic violence, clean energy, zero waste policy, and other burning topics. I did not wait for someone else. Instead, I have propelled the change myself. I realized that if present-day leaders don't exchange their greed for immediate profit with long-term benefit, then it'll be my generation in the future who will suffer for not initiating the change today. From that consideration, I've created my own organization where I've started to work for climate, health, information, learning, and development. Again, this was a big course of change because I have demonstrated a domain to exchange my present days with my future dreams. From this organization, I have been making partnerships with different stakeholders, and we've been working together. We have awarded youths who have planted 1 million trees in Bangladesh over the course of just 1 year. We are fighting against lead contamination and mercury pollution in low-income countries. We are fighting to save tree climbing lions in East Africa who are going extinct. We are driving the world's largest movement for a clean planet. I have exchanged my weekends with friends and family to weekends with fellows who share the same passion as I do. But how can you change yourself and exchange the time you have? Using my experience that changed me forever, I can recommend you to do 3 things. Number 1, do not wait for others to bring the change. Instead, take the responsibility to be the change yourself. Number 2, exchange your views and opinions with others. And lastly, number 3, exchange your powerful subconscious mind to your weak conscious willingness. I'd like to wrap up my remark by drawing your attention to one last fact. Change itself is a very powerful coach. You don't need another instructor. You can learn a lot just from one instance of change, one occasion of change. Only if you can incorporate the exchange of good habits with your bad ones. So change comes with the exchange, and both revolves around one another. Even if you've never seen icebergs falling from glaciers, you can also bring the dawn of change and exchange your dark nights with broad daylight. All you have to do is to make the change and embark on the exchange. The question is, are you ready for it?